Hi guys, I'm Kelly T from Kelly T Black Metal Reviews, and I am here with Australian avant-garde black metal band Abstract the Light. I'm joined by Ben Sheehan on guitars and vocals, Matt Brown on guitar and backing vocals, Alan Catman on drums, and Simon Henderson on bass. Guys, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks for having us.
Where are
Happy
you
to
guys?
be here.
Awesome. Where are you guys located tonight? You look like you're in an interesting setup.
Yeah, we've popped down to our friends down at the Broadcast Bar who've kindly hosting us tonight. So just a little shout out to those guys. We did our film clip premiere for Waters of Fire here probably about a year and a half ago, nearly 2 years. And so we thought this is a good space as any to come down and do a little interview tonight. So thanks to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I just want to give a bit of an overview into what Abstract the Light are all about. For people who aren't familiar with Abstract the Light, first of all, you need to be. These guys do create some pretty amazing avant-garde black metal. You know, we've got some really emotive guitar passages, haunting soundscapes, and most importantly, a solid dose of brutality. So please do check these guys out if you haven't already. But guys, I do want to go back to the beginning because it seems like a very good place to start. Can you give me some context around Abstract the Light's coming together and what the vision for the band was when you started out?
Well, we started in around 2015 with this lineup. Myself and Benny have been playing for quite a while. It goes back to the 90s with other projects and other walks of life and whatnot. So we've been playing together for quite a while, and we've played in several projects along the way, and we had a few opportunities to play some good shows, some big shows with an act. We weren't quite sure what path we were going to go on, but because we've been sort of friends with each other and musically collaborating with each other for so long, we thought we'd, try and start something a little bit new and a little bit different. So around 2014, 2015, we thought it'd be a great opportunity to do something different and do another project, another metal band that was a little bit sort of off from what we did in the past, but still kept it kind of the same as such. So we decided to do this thing, and we went on a path of trying to find some sort of identity, I guess, within ourselves as far as a band. And we did that. So that goes back to 2015, and we have always been a band that have strived to push boundaries and push ourselves. So we played a show back in 2015, Black Conjuration. We had about 4 months of practice, I would say, Benny.
Well, we didn't have any music at this point as well. We got offered a spot on the Black Conjuration Festival, which initially I'd approached the promoter, who also was a bass player in our band briefly, and we sort of said, oh look, I'd love to do a reunion with one of my old bands. That didn't end up panning out. We did have a spot there, and Matt sort of said, well, why don't we just start a new band? And I think it was around about April, May of 2015, and we didn't have any music. We had a date. We had 30-40 minute slot, and everyone thought we were crazy, but just it happened to be the right time, and all the stars sort of fell into line, and we put a lineup together, and we built a band from scratch, and sort of that leads us to where we are today.
Yeah, I love that story. It's a good story. Guys, this is a pretty exciting month for you guys. 2016 saw the release of your epic EP, From Out the Void. It's still one of my favorites. And let's face it, those extended tracks made this a pretty substantial EP. And fans of this EP, including myself, have been waiting with bated breath for your next album. And it's finally here. Well, very, very close. And I'm talking about your debut full-length album, Magna Sapientia Quaerere, To the Depths of Thy Soul, which is being released through the Austrian label Talheim Records on the 31st of October this year. I'm so excited. Now, I know you guys have been working very, very hard on this album, extremely hard. Walk me through the album's creation, the work you've put into this, and given that you have spent so much time on this one, what's your overall feeling and thoughts on this album now it's just about ready to be released?
Well, it's a bit of a relief, I've got to say.
Oh my God, is the first thing that comes to mind.
We know that we are probably not the quickest band to produce stuff and get it out, and like some bands have produced 3 EPs and an album in a year, and that's all fine for those guys. We don't begrudge them that. But I guess for me as a songwriter and for Matt and I, the way we work, it can take a little bit longer. We're not a full-time professional band in that regard. We all have lives and day jobs and family commitments and all that sort of stuff. So sometimes the writing part can be within a smaller framework of time. But just the time that it actually takes to then, create the art, the whole vision, the lyrical content, then the recording process, and this is all in between life and jobs and money, and it's taken. I think it took about 3 years from when we finished from Out of the Void. We did already have some of the early pieces that started to appear on this album. And then, the studio time takes a bit of time because we like to do things in a particular way. I think in the future we've talked about the next time we record and release music with this new lineup that isn't so new now, but in terms of a recording lineup, the next release we would like to do in a much more timely fashion. But I think in hindsight, it took as long as it needed. The CD should have been out at the start of the year, but then COVID sort of happened, and what we were looking at was a March/May release in the first half of the year has turned out to, hey, at least we're still getting to release it. It's going to be out real soon. For us, it feels like it's worth the wait, and we can't wait for people to be able to hear it in its entirety, because even though we have released quite a few tracks with Waters of Fire and Hunter, and there's a Spinning Plates lyric video as well now, they're sort of snapshots. But to me, as an artist and us as an artistic band, we're not just necessarily a live band that goes and plays some songs and rocks up in our street clothes, as we like it to be a bigger picture, and for me personally, to have the album out and hear it in its entirety with all the interludes and all the stuff that's going on, that is when it'll be really exciting, and I can't wait to see what people think of this journey that we want to take them on.
And it's been a great continuation from Out of the Void towards Magna Sapientia Quaerere. I think it's been a great evolution for us.
Yeah.
From that EP. The EP was written very quickly. And we did spend a lot of time on it, but it was done very quickly. Whereas this album, we've spent a lot of time on over a long period of time. It could have been released earlier, but what is time? What's time and timelessness? It's going to last forever, and we wanted to make sure it was going to be the best thing that we could release. So that's what we've done. We've taken our time. We've made sure it was going to be right. We're working with a great label, Talheim Records, that are going to do an amazing package for us, which should be released very soon. Which we'll get onto that topic afterwards. Yep. So
yeah, we will cover
also,
that.
Just to touch on what Matt was just sort of saying there as well. Like, it's not just us; it's also Jared Nettle at the House of Sap, who's recorded with us both times.
Amazing.
Like his production and his belief in our vision, whereas I guess some bands, not necessarily metal bands generally speaking know what they want to capture and convey, but some recording artists in the rock or the pop or whatever, they'll go in and they'll get a producer, recording engineer or producer to help produce their overall sound and songs and help develop that sort of stuff. Whereas, you know, when we go in, we pretty much, aside from some like maybe 5%, like little things, like some of the little interlude things that get done at home or get added to as extra little details, we pretty much have a 90-odd% really clear vision of what it's going to unfold into and the journey that it's going to take you on. And I guess with this second album, just to close on this, is that I personally wanted to also spend longer on it so that we could have a clearer vision and elaborate a little further on what we started to touch on with From Out of the Void.
Yeah, right. No, we're all very excited about it. Lots of people talking about it, that's for sure. You did mention the marathon tracks that you guys have released so far, being Hunter and Waters of Fire, more so because I want to talk about those tracks because you did do some pretty epic film clips or video clips, I think they call them now, that you put with those, which was very dramatic and a lot of acting from you guys. There was some familiar face cameos and some pretty authentic period costumes as well. Talk me through the making of these clips and what this experience was like for you guys.
Well, the Waters of Fire one in particular, just to touch on that, was our first one. And I guess we talked about, you know, making a film clip. We wanted to make something with a bit of impact. And, you know, we shot pretty high and we have fairly high standards. And, you know, in hindsight, we are still really proud of the package and the film clip that we created. It took my partner and I, you know, 5 months to do the costuming and the shields and all the stuff that sort of went into it. And there was about 40 people in the production, 40 cast members, that is, plus the production crew. So it was a big logistical effort. And it was pretty grand in its idea. And then the second one, Hunter, we actually cobbled that together out of the start of what we were going to do another film clip with, and that didn't eventuate for whatever reason. And Hunter was made by another mate of ours of the band, and he really, they're like polar opposites as well, whereas Waters of Fire was quite a big, lavish production with a very minimal budget, I must add, as well. And Hunter had zero budget and even less, but much more grit and grime, and just to show that, you know, nothing, it doesn't always have to be bright and glossy, and no two things are necessarily going to be the same. And to keep people guessing and not to expect, or to expect the unexpected, I suppose. And
totally.
Yeah, they're all a lot of fun. Pretty challenging, Waters of Fire especially, but we did get there in the end.
Can imagine. You guys have some pretty impressive guest artists going on within this new album too, including the haunting and incredible vocals by Rowan London from Virgin Black. You've got the beautiful demoness Blackheart, Miss Sandra Mortis, and the awesome Greg Pickle. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. And you've also got some various musicians on guitars and cellos. How did all these artists fit in with this album's design? And logistically, having so many involved, did you have many hurdles to overcome to sort of collaborate with that many people?
Oh, look, we've got to go through the cameos that we've got appearing on the album. We've got, as you've said, Kelly, like Sandra, Rowan, Gregor, Jason Vandendriesen, who played a long time ago with myself and Benny, and also Hannah Yates, who's a cello player.
And we worked with her one time before when we supported Mortis. We did an experimental piece of music, a one-time performance of a piece that went for about 30 minutes, and we had Hannah join us on cello then. So she has worked with Brody, our recording drummer, previously. So logistically, it wasn't challenging at all. And I must say, because we're in a fortuitous position where, or fortunate position where we just have this dynamic where there are no specific rules on what can define a band. And you know, I wouldn't say we don't have a floating lineup. Simon's been with us for a good year and a half. Alan's been with us before that. Brody is playing with us when we play the live album playthrough of our album, and we have an ability to think beyond the confines of what a band can or can't be. So the ability to work with other great recording artists that we respect and want to open the doors to is quite an easy one. For instance, working with Rowan, he's never appeared as a guest recording artist with anyone before. So this is his first recording performance outside of Virgin Black, who he was, you know, as a founding member of 20 odd years. And he told me that, you know, this is a big thing for him, and he respected what we do as an artistic entity as well. So for us, that's a big tick that we're doing the right thing. We go about our musical journey in the right way, and then like attracts like. We work with people that have open minds and want to help convey this you know, global message that about our band, that is, in that regard, that, you know, we can just do things and they just work.
And such good musicians to work with too.
Oh,
such good personalities, such good hearts. Amazing to work with. You know, everyone that's appeared on our album, we consider as family. So like, it's
and
it's
a big difference.
It's refreshing. It's refreshing.
Yeah, it makes the synergy of everything that you need to do, I assume, to be a lot more smooth. Yeah. So you guys, I did read where you said that this next album, and you mentioned this before a little bit, Matt, that it is a continuation of From Out of the Void. However, you are stepping further into the dark and mystical folk sounds with bleak and emotive black metal touched on in passages previously. And of course, we did hear this with the tracks that you have released so far, but how would you say this next album is for the most part? Are you focusing heavier on the folk and experimental influences, and what drives this direction?
Oh, look, it's an expansion on From Out of the Void. So we wanted to create a story, you know, journey for people to. It's lengthy. It's part of our lives. It's something that. You know, without going into the vocals and the poetry that's involved in the music, it's you know, the riffage as a guitarist. It's a total journey, and we wanted each song to blend into the next. So it was you know, so someone could sit down and actually enjoy the whole album from start to finish, and then go back and listen to it again from start to finish. As almost like reading your favorite book, or you know, so that's what I feel. So
and just further on that, I actually feel like each song has its own identity to an extent as well. And even though sonically, you know, the drums sound the same, the guitar tones are similar, and they're different parts, and there's like we don't songwrite and go, well, we must have another folk section here. Or we must put in a black metal bit that's going to go, you know, like we don't write like that. When we write, we either write individually or collectively. We can, you know, we have a few different ways we songwrite, and each album, or this album, has a few of those different ways that we write, either individually or collectively. So there's no specific way, they just evolve in time, and you know, I believe a lot of it just comes from, you know, channeling stuff as well, and that might sound a bit corny, but it does, in a regard of like not forcing something as well. Like when we write, we might sit in a room and we might try to write something. Often that might not stick, but when you just sit down and it just becomes, that's the stuff that hangs around, because it's just drawing from the influences of the past and the visions of the forward. And you know, yeah, it's all very randomly created to form this linear journey.
Yeah, I mean, I've always said that your music is like a journey for me, you know, and it's an experience, so to speak. But you know, reading your lyrics, they're always so poetic. It almost feels like you're taking, the visions I get in my head is like I'm going back to a time where the roads are cobblestoned and you're drinking red wine from goblets in castles and everything's completely bleak. But there's also lyrics in there that just feel so completely cathartic as well. So you've just touched that the story, this album is a bit of a flowing story, but what are these stories about for this newest album?
Well, lyrically, it's a little bit of some of it's somewhat personal, and you know, but those personal stories are also things that will relate to anybody that's lived and loved and lost and lived and loved and lost again. You know, like you know, life is a cycle of ebbs and flows, ups and downs. Just happened to be that when I was writing lyrics for this album, not all of it, but some of it was in a not very happy place. And you can use that and draw that life experience, because one of the things that I specifically wanted to do when I was, you know, fortunate enough to be the lead singer and songwriter or lyric writer for Abstract the Light, it's a gift, but it's also something that I take serious, to make sure that you know, that you can convey something that people can resonate with. And in the past, when I was the singer-songwriter for Quasar, I wrote about fantastical stuff and the cosmology and the cosmos. Whereas this time I wanted to make it personal, and I wanted it to be real, and I wanted people to be able to feel something. And when I sing those words and I'm drawn back to what they represent to me personally, or what they could mean to somebody else who's going through a dark place, or they've lost a friend through suicide, or you know, those really deep emotional things that connect us as people, that I feel it, and I put that out there so that people can feel that and feel that we're real. This is not fake shit, and it's not like, we don't sing about Satan and we don't sing about killing people and all that sort of cliched metal stuff. And I have nothing against that. I listened to that when I was a younger person. I'm now well into my early mid-40s, and you know, as a mature person and a mature songwriter, I've been writing songs since I was 15. You know, you can't sing about that shit you do when you're 15. I mean, some people can. Cannibal Corpse is a great example, and they will do their thing till the day they die, I'm sure of it. But as a mature, evolving person, then the art has to evolve with me, otherwise it wouldn't be real. So that's a little bit, just without really defining specific things, just to just that it's personal journeys. Some of it's my personal journey, but it doesn't have to be. It could be anyone's personal journey, because we all live, we all love, we lose, and those ebbs and flows, life and death, and the balance, and the journey, the spiritual journey towards, you know, fulfillment, contentment, the friendship, the brotherhood of our band, and all of the members that have been a part of our band, and not just this band, but all of the people that we've played music with, like Simon and Alan. We're all members of, or those guys specifically, members of multiple bands. So I've always looked at music and bands as a brotherhood, and it's an extended family. And if you looked at the family tree of Adelaide metal bands, for instance, you could probably see there's a line between all of them. We're all connected in some way, and that's no different to the way humans, we need to connect. And to me, it's about connectivity with with the self, and then giving back and having a positive outlook and trying to achieve something fulfilling and meaningful.
Yeah, and you certainly do feel that in your music. You know, it is highly emotive, intense metal that you create, and it's an experience, like I said, that's for sure. But Simon, I want to throw a question to you now, because you joined the band early 2019. Correct me if I've got that wrong. How's this, you know, the synergy of the band seems really tight. How's this experience been for you so far with Abstract the Light?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. I knew Ben. I was playing in some bands. We were jamming a little bit and trying to get a few projects together. He hit me up about, I guess, January last year, and asked me to be part of the band, and sent me a bunch of songs, and I loved them. So they were all the songs that were going to be part of the new album coming out. And I really wanted to be a part of it, because it really excited me what they were coming up with. And we did a bunch of great shows last year. It's been a great experience as well. I was lucky enough to play on a few songs on the album as well. So yeah, it's been fantastic.
That's awesome. Yeah, I got to catch you guys at the New Dead Festival last year, and
Heavy SA.
Heavy SA.
Was it Heavy SA?
Yeah, it was Heavy SA. Yeah.
Holy.
We did 3 shows in a short.
That's right. Yes, it was too. I'm so sorry.
Leviathy, and we did the Bowls of Support all within about 8-ish weeks of each other or something. It was quite a little mini tour of Adelaide.
Yeah,
and
we
were very fortunate, you know.
You saw us at Heavy SA. We played 3 songs. It was 20 minutes.
Yeah,
that's right. But we caught up at New Dead Fest. That's where I'm getting confused. Alan, I've got a question for you too. So, as mentioned, you guys are in. Both yourself and Simon are in other bands outside of Abstract the Light. How do you find the time to give 100% to each band? You know, how do you logistically manage this? Because I know it's such a thing for many musicians to be within each band, but you clearly take this
he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, the logistics of it is kind of difficult. I found I have to kind of sacrifice time doing things like playing video games or, you know,
all that stuff.
Sacrifice that for rehearsal time, because if there are a lot of expectations from various projects and bands at the same time, I will regret it if I don't put that time in to get things, you know, at least up to a decent standard for performing live or recording an album or something like that. And I don't do enough practice. That's one thing, like, I berate myself on a lot, but it is a lot of work, and it's a lot of work behind the scenes as well, which a lot of musicians can relate to, I'm sure, and a lot of sacrifices as well in their personal lives too.
Yeah,
I think if I could just add a different perspective there, is that, you know, we touched on it very early when we talked about, you know, the trials and tribulations of writing in a timely fashion or recording an album in less than 3 years. You know, we're all still got day jobs. So, you know, bands, all of the bands that we're associated with are not necessarily full-time professional bands. So we might not be active for, you know, what's ended up being literally a whole year because of COVID. We were meant to play a show at the start of the year, and we will work in cycles, and I can't necessarily speak directly for Alan and some of the other bands, but generally there might be, we're going to try and do some stuff in this patch of time. We're going to do some songwriting or some recording. We're going to play a few shows. So we don't put a full-time burden. Well, you got to be at practice every week for, you know, 52 weeks a year. That's not really realistic. Yeah. Maybe if you're a professional band and, you know, at a different level. But in reality, you know, we're still just a growing band from Adelaide, South Australia, with a growing fan base. And, you know, I've still got to go to work tomorrow, and, you know, we still got other commitments, and then, you know, we might not, when are we going to play next? Well, the live scene is, you know, ebbing and flowing, you know what I mean? So, like, being in 5 bands doesn't always have to be a burden of, you know, time and commitment, because you can be spaced out within those things. It's only when 3 bands want you to play 1 gig and, you know, it doesn't line up, then that's when...
that could be a problem, definitely. But I wouldn't imagine that would happen maybe too many times, I suppose. But, yeah.
more times than you'd imagine, probably.
Oh,
But that's all good. Yeah.
You guys have a very exciting weekend coming up on the 31st of October. It is the debut live stream performance of Magna Sapientia Quaerere, To the Depths of Thy Soul. This starts at 9:30 p.m. Australian Central Daylight Time. Now, you guys have set up a Facebook page for this event, which is pretty cool. So people can go across and hit that they're going so they don't miss the notification. But you guys must be so pumped. I mean, I imagine you've been putting in a fair bit of practice recently. How's it been for you guys getting back to being able to jam and practice? And what can you disclose about this live performance, as in where's it held, what we can expect?
Well, we're playing the album in its entirety with all our guests, and it's a pretty big undertaking. We're going in and we're playing from start to finish. We've got a 7-track album that goes for over 60 odd minutes. So it's a big beast to play. We've got all the guest vocalists that are recorded on the album are coming in to do their parts. We've also got Vando coming in to do his lead guitar. We've got cello. It's quite a big production. There's a facility in Adelaide where we're hosting this called Mosaic Audio, and they're going to be streaming it from their premises. So we're going in there, and then we'll go in and we'll play, and hopefully we can nail it. And it's a big album. There's a couple of songs we've never played live before, Broken Shards and Carousels of Eternity. So we're really looking forward to it, and we're very grateful to our label, Tauheim Records, who are supporting us in this and helping us make this come to fruition. Because look, to be honest, we'd ideally love to be able to play this live to an audience, our hometown crowd, and have a room full of people to witness us try to do this. But with where we are as a global community and COVID, there are some live shows starting to happen again. Most of them, I believe, are seated. That's not really where we would want to sit as a band, and we don't begrudge people that are doing that. It's great that there's still live music starting to return. We decided a while ago to put this date in the calendar because we just didn't know what the future held.
Yeah.
So this way, it's making the best of a shitty year that a lot of people have endured.
Yeah.
And that we know that there are a lot of people in far worse off situations than us, like Melbourne, still in a lockdown, and we're very grateful. We're very realistic that times have changed, and we're in the middle of the unknown, and we're really just trying to make the best out of this sort of situation. We do hope to play live again to an audience that can mosh and can get into it and share beers and spill shit on each other and all of that stuff that makes up the live music scene. But as artists as well, maybe it's fortunate that this is possibly the only time we will be able to do this.
Yeah.
We're going to go out and play a nearly 70-minute set from start to finish with all our guests, and it's we probably couldn't do that in a live music venue realistically. So maybe it's just we're just grateful the way it panned out for us. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we'd also like to round this shitty year off with this something great, which is what we're doing, but also start fresh again and start to write another album, which I've caught up with Benny a few times a while back to work on a few more songs. So we've got a few riffs and a few little melodies in the mix to work on a new album. So it'd just be great to sign off on a really shit year.
Absolutely.
And do this thing and make it the best thing we can with what we've got, to then work on the next chapter.
Absolutely. And I hope that you do get a lot of people tuning in, because you do put on a very dark, ominous and mysterious performance. It was pretty intoxicating when I saw you guys at Heavy SA. So I'm looking forward to definitely watching this on the 31st of October, that's for sure. But talking about touring and COVID, because as we all know, it's been an absolutely crazy year for that. You know, you've just about to drop this album. Are you guys talking about touring past, you know, like next year we're probably going to get some tours start sparking up again. Are you guys working out a plan so far? And what does that plan involve? Does it involve coming to New South Wales?
We would love to. We love Sydney.
GoFundMe, yeah.
Sydney's always been good to us, not just with Abstract the Light, but our other bands. And you know, if we were going to go anywhere, Sydney would definitely be first on the list. But look, I don't know what the future holds for live music in touring and you know, like if we had to go into 2-week quarantine to go on a tour, I probably wouldn't want to do that unless I was going to Europe. But then if Europe's in lockdown, then, you know, what's the point? So I think it's a watch this space. I think the reality is that we're doing this live stream not knowing what the future holds for the live music scene, I guess. We know that as a band, we've still got stuff we want to achieve and we can push forward and keep, you know, writing and recording again. But in terms of touring, I think that's really going to be at, you know, the mercy of, you know, state and federal governments and, you know, border restrictions being eased. And, you know, look, that could be well into mid next year. So who knows?
Absolutely. It's a hard question. It's something I like to sort of ask just to see that, you know, you are thinking about it if you are at all. Because, yeah, I'd love you to come to New South Wales. So that's why I asked. And so I want to talk about the album just to wrap this up. Where is the best place when this album releases to buy this album? Obviously, they can get this album through Talheim Records. Are you going to put it on Bandcamp as well?
Yep. Well, there'll be there'll be a full album stream uploaded to the Talheim YouTube channel, which is just recently launched about a month ago. So if you go onto the Talheim Records Facebook page or their website, he's got quite a big website as well that's been building the last few months. All the information will be there. So that's for international customers. So anyone watching this in America or Europe or wherever the audience reaches to, they can get it directly from him. We will also have some CDs. We have been told they're being shipped on Monday and that it should take 5 days. But hey, we're in the middle of a global pandemic. So I would realistically think we'll have CDs within the next week to 2 weeks. Right. And anyone in Australia, the postal service is still working. I just send shit express post. So yeah, you'll be able to get it. I know things are taking longer and people need to be patient, but in the meantime, you will be able to listen to us online on the YouTube. There's all our video clips are on our YouTube channel, and if you just go into YouTube and search Abstract the Light, there's links to all of that. Yeah, so I think pretty soon we'll have a bit better idea on when the CDs land in Australia. You'll be the first to know, and you'll be able to buy it from us.
Excellent. Guys, this has been so nice to catch up with you. You're all such gentlemen, and I do wish you the best of luck for this live performance on the 31st of October, that's for sure. And of course, for the success of your new album as well. Is there anything you would like to leave people watching this interview? Go for it.
I'll jump in quickly if that's all right.
Go.
So, Brodie Green recorded the album that's going to come out, and I've had the huge task of interpreting his amazing parts and sort of getting my head into his style a little bit to recreate in my own way what he's put down. And honestly, some of it, I just tried and I couldn't quite get it. So he's done an amazing job. I want to make sure people know that he drummed on this album that's coming out, and I'm doing the live stuff and that sort of thing, which has been an amazing experience for me to play with these guys and to do the Illavati support last year and things like that. And I'm so glad we have him as part of our stream that's coming up as well. I think that's really awesome.
Yeah, that is very cool that he's involved in that. Definitely.
And I think that's a testament to the maturity of our band as well, in the regard that, you know, we can invite a former member of our band who we didn't actually say, you know, Brodie's out of the band per se. It was just that the paths went into different directions with the work he had to do. We needed a live drummer. The album was already done, and it just I guess it's just a testament to what we can achieve as humans when you work together and you can build these lasting bonds that are more than just, you know, I need a band, I need a guy, and this is that. You know, like, you can do things beyond, you know, what you probably thought is possible with a few guys that you can build lasting relationships with. So we're actually quite grateful to everyone that's been a part of our band, whether it was for a little while or a long while. And you never know what the future holds. We at least know that there's new music on the horizon as well, and we're really looking forward to playing this live stream performance and delivering, you know, what will possibly be, you know, the only time we can do this in its entirety in this way, with all the guests and everyone's there. And then in the future, we can continue to delve further into this, you know, this new journey that we'll undertake, you know, very soon.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be an absolutely epic night. I am very much looking forward to it, that's for sure. I'll have my bottle of wine and watch. There is no doubt.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us, Kel.
Yeah,
You're a legend.
You're welcome,
Thanks,
guys.
guys.
It's so nice to talk to you. Take it easy.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Recall.